What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Cosmic Wonder. I'm your host, Warren Thompson, and we have some major Marvel news to go over today, especially concerning the Fantastic Four. The last we heard about the casting of the Fantastic Four came from Matt Shakman himself, and he said that we should know the casting of the Fantastic Four soon. Speaking about us, the audience should know soon. The fans should know soon, because they're about to make everything official at Marvel Studios for the official cast. Matt Shakman pretty much said that when the strikes are over, not too long after, we're gonna find out who the cast is. And guess what? The strikes are over, and it looks like we know who our Mr. Fantastic is going to be. And this name is coming out of left field. You probably already know because I probably put it in the title, but Pedro Pascal has been offered the role from Marvel Studios to play Reed Richards, aka Mr. Fantastic of the Fantastic Four. Now, we have some other major Marvel news to talk about in this video, but a lot is happening with the Fantastic Four right now. This report that Pedro Pascal has been offered the role of Reed Richards for Marvel Studios is coming from insider Daniel RPK. It's also been backed up by others as well. Grace Randolph posted when this report happened, well, Reed Richards is a daddy, looking into this Pedro Pascal rumor of the Fantastic Four, and then she updated it with, update, it's true, he has the offer, but hasn't accepted yet. And now even huge media outlets like Deadline have reported things like this. After months of speculation of who might play Reed Richards, aka Mr. Fantastic, in Marvel Studios' highly anticipated Fantastic Four pick, the wait may be finally over. While a deal is far from done, sources tell Deadline Pedro Pascal is in the talks to play the role. So we have some big insiders confirming this, and now a huge media outlet is confirming this. So needless to say, it's all true. Marvel has offered the role officially to Pedro Pascal, and go ahead and let me know right away, do you think that's a good call? Do you like that? I personally love Pedro Pascal as an actor, and I will say I think he is in a good age range to play Reed in the MCU, especially if you consider what we heard. What we've heard about the Fantastic Four is that when the Fantastic Four team gets introduced to the MCU, Reed and Sue are already going to be married and they're going to be parents. So again, I think his age range is really good, but at the same time, I do think he has a really good look to play Mr. Fantastic. I really do. And of course, he is a phenomenal actor. There's no doubt that he would do an incredible job. I do wholeheartedly believe that. But here's a big question. Would he go well with Vanessa Kirby as Sue Storm, as his wife in the MCU? Because based off of everything that we've learned and that we know, Vanessa Kirby is our Sue Storm. They offered her the contract before the strikes began, and from what we've heard, she accepted it. So how do we think Vanessa Kirby and Pedro Pascal would work together? What would the chemistry be like? Do we think that it would be good? And do they look good together? I personally think, yeah, this could definitely work because the two of them, are incredible actors. If you haven't seen what they've done, I suggest you look into their shows and their movies because truly, they can act very well. Now, the last we heard, Jake Gyllenhaal was offered the role of Mr. Fantastic of the Fantastic Four, which had some controversy surrounding it, obviously, since he played Mysterio in the MCU. But I should specify, he played Mysterio in the 616 universe in the MCU. From what we've heard, the Fantastic Four film might actually take place in another universe, and it might take place in the 60s. So that could explain how Jake Gyllenhaal could play Reed Richards, but also Mysterio at the same time. However, it still does get a little bit messy. So I gotta say, even though I do love Jake Gyllenhaal and I wish he was still in the MCU, I think going with Pedro Pascal would be the better option. But again, let me know your thoughts. Now, as far as Kang Dynasty is concerned, we've heard a lot about it. We recently heard that they dropped one of the writers because they might be moving away from Kang, the Kang storyline altogether. But now we have heard that the director is gone. Now, this report is also coming from Deadline, and they state Destin Daniel Cretton departs as director on Avengers the Kang Dynasty. And if you are not aware, Destin Daniel Cretton directed Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, which was awesome. He did a fantastic job, and he's very passionate about his work. I've spoken to him several times, including an interview I did with him for Shang-Chi. And Marvel Studios seems to really like him as well. As Deadline reports, he remains aboard Wonder Man, Shang-Chi 2, and more in the MCU. So clearly, Marvel Studios really likes director Destin Daniel Cretton, so much that they are keeping him around even though he is no longer on the Kang Dynasty. So the big question is why. Why is he no longer on the Kang Dynasty? Well, from what we have heard, and you have probably heard this already, Jeff Loveness, who was the writer for Avengers Kang Dynasty and who also wrote Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, has recently been taken off of that project. And the reported reason coming from Joanna Robinson, the author of MCU, The Reign of Marvel Studios, he is off the project because they are moving in a different direction, and the direction that they are moving from is Kang. They might be moving away from Kang the Conqueror in the MCU, and of course if they do that, then they wouldn't have Kang Dynasty. That is supposedly why these people are no longer attached to the project. And if we think about it, this new report kind of helps it all make sense. Deadline reports that he's off the project, but he's still on other Marvel projects. He's on multiple ones, more than 2, more than 3, it sounds like. So this further backs up that report that they are simply going to change what the movie is going to be about. That's why they don't have the same writer. That's why they don't have the same director, because what they had hired them to do, they are no longer doing it. They specifically hired Jeff Loveness, who introduced the true Kang the Conqueror to us in Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, hired him to continue to handle Kang the Conqueror in the MCU, which would include his variants, which of course we saw in the post-credits for Quantumania. And then they took Destin Daniel Cretton, who did an amazing job with Shang-Chi, talked to him about Kang and said, all right, cool, you're going to be our guy for Kang Dynasty. They specifically hired him to direct a story about Kang, which may no longer be the case, which may be why he is no longer attached to that project. So as sad as it is, we might actually be moving away from Kang in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but that would mean Doom would come into the MCU, as has been reported by Variety. They stated that Marvel Studios was considering moving away from Kang and bringing in Doctor Doom. That of course is not confirmed, but it now seems like we are getting closer to that being an actual reality. I'm sure when we hear about who they get to be the new writer and the new director for this film, it'll start to really give us an idea of what exactly is going to happen, and I'm curious who they would get to direct a movie about Doom. And if you're wondering, well, how exactly would they step away from Kang when he's been built up so much, especially with Loki Season 2 recently happening? Well, Loki Season 2 kind of opened it up for Marvel to replace Kang if they needed. Loki made the multiverse a reality. He made it possible, and he made it possible for the multiverse to exist while people have free will. And now the TVA has one job: monitor every timeline for Kang, for variants of He Who Remains. So unfortunately, and I say unfortunately because I do think Jonathan Majors did an amazing job as Kang the Conqueror, and I do hope he's innocent, and if he is, I hope they continue with him. However, again, unfortunately, the Loki finale opened Marvel Studios up to actually replace him, because now if you replace him, all you have to do is say, yeah, the TVA took care of Kang, and they continue to take care of him. Thanks to the TVA, there is no multiversal war because they prune every Kang variant. Not a timeline, but him specifically from the timeline. And Dr. Doom is a genius. He's one of the smartest people in Marvel history ever, so it's not that hard to say he gets his hands on some Kang time travel technology and all of a sudden, he's the big multiversal threat. It is definitely possible, but go ahead and let me know what you think about this in the comments down below, and of course, what you think about the Fantastic Four news as well. Please give the video a like and subscribe to the channel to stay up to date on the MCU, and if you subscribe and leave a comment, you're automatically entered in our giveaway for a chance to win a PS5, an Xbox Series X, some Marvel Legends items, and some DC items as well. The winner picks one item, and we pick one winner at the end of each month. You can find us on Instagram and Twitter, and as always, thank you all so much for watching. Woof woof.